Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Market Arizona Real Estate Market Update. We are wrapping up May. In fact, we're already in June 2025, right? And the latest data gives us some fascinating picture of the markets. So whether you are buying, selling, or just trying to make sense of the housing trends in Phoenix and anywhere across the valley, this one is for you. So let's break it down. In this episode, we're talking about some of the uh, updated real estate condition, as well as in this episode only, we'll compare the Phoenix market with other cities, with other metro area in the country. So let's take a look at what we have. Like usual, if you do not have the time to follow up with all the video content, I do have a website that's available for you. Just feel free to scan your QR code and you can go to the website very easy. Otherwise, you can just go to magicalsuccessrealty.com and navigate to the market update. You will have all the information about the market updates specifically for today as well in June 2025. All right, so that enough. Let's go right into the information. Let's look at the Cromford Market Index. So if you follow my channel, I think I already said this multiple times, but Cromford Market Index is a very reliable number and accurate as well to evaluate the condition of the market provided by the Comfort Associate. If the index is higher than 110, it's a seller market. Simple, right? From 90 to 110 is a balanced market, and if it is less than 90, it's actually in the buyer's market. So what are we at right now? Okay, we actually see overall a downtrend. Okay, a downtrend overall for the entire Maricopa County. We see an overall downtrend. On average, we drop about 3.5% compared to the previous month. Now, even though it is a drop, I just have to point out is that last week we have 4.1%, and the previous week we have 4.5% drop. Okay, so obviously the rate of the drop has been slowing down. Okay, we still have, unfortunately, 13 out of 17 major cities in Arizona shift toward more favorable to the buyer. What do I mean by that? Like I said, if it is less than 90 points, right, it is a buyer's market. So more and more cities that pointing towards that area less than 90 points. Okay, only 4 cities right now has an improvement for the seller, which is the same as last week, but the improvement is very minimal. Okay, overall right now we have 3 cities that in the seller's market. 2 is still very weak, 8 in the balance market, and 6 in the buyer's market. Some of the city that has the worst for the seller, well, we have to say the worst for the buyers or the seller. The worst for the buyer, the worst for the seller is Scottsdale, Chandler, Glendale, Phoenix, and Gilbert. Those are the area that has price increased a lot from previous year. Now it's time to pay back, right? Because pricing is too much and is distract away, is prevent the buyer to come into that market, and that's the reason why homes seem to be sold slowly in those markets. Meanwhile, we have Maricopa, Goodyear, Paradise Valley have some slight improvement for the seller. Okay, but nothing like major change. Okay, overall, the strongest market is actually Fountain Hills. Surprisingly, right? It has been the strongest market for the last 3 weeks. So this week right now is holding the second place, and the number 1 is still Chandler, but the second place is in Fountain Hills. The trend overall, as you see, the seller is still losing the ground, and fortunately a little bit slower than last week. Okay, why is that? Why is that the condition? So to be able to answer the market condition, most of the time we rely on the comparison between the supply and the demand. Overall, we see that supply is stabilizing and the demand, but the demand is still cold. Okay, what do I mean by that? All right, let's look at the entire May. The supply for May is level off. Okay, we no longer see the flood of listing. in early like if you follow my channel, you know that from the beginning of the year, like around February, March, and April, there's a flood of inventory into the market, right? Which makes sense because normally that is the best time for the seller to sell their house on the market. So a lot of seller is still thinking it is the same, and they're putting on the market. However, the main problem back then and until now is the demand is still very weak. Okay, no meaningful sign of recovery. So even though we have supply and have the same level, but because the demand is still very low, what does that mean to you? That means um, there's no buyer's activities. Okay? The buyer is still slacking, lazy to put an offer. Okay, especially if you are looking for the home like in the mid tier, like around like 400, 500, or even the entry level market, the listing is sitting longer. Okay, the seller need to have the pricing strategy more aggressively and offer more concession to attract the seller, to attract the buyers in this in the current market. Okay, so let's go into uh the core problem. Okay, the core problem of the demand is still low is because the interest rate is still very high as of right now, and a lot of people putting a hold. In addition to that, the economic condition is not very bright as well. Okay, so that the two main reason why a lot of buyers is still waiting and waiting and waiting. Talking about the economic, let's look at the luxury because that's actually impacting the luxury market a lot. Okay, we see some sign of recovery in the luxury market, but there's some misleading. Why do I mean by that? Okay, as you know, there's a slight rebound in there's a slight rebound recovery in the stock and the crypto market. Okay, which mean that the high net worth buyers are stepping back in because they have more money now. Okay, so and that's the reason why we see a rebound in the demand. Okay, and that's also bumping up the average sale price and the price per square foot across the board. Okay, but here's the thing: in most of the price range, especially at 800, especially under 800, prices are either flat or still trending downward. Okay. So while the headline numbers look stronger, it's mostly due to more high-end clothing, like a very high end, okay, like high-end luxury, and in and clothing, and it's not rising the price. It's just the average. It's just the average of everything sold, getting higher. Okay, so that's the reason why it's misleading right now. So if it is around 800 or less than 800, it's not selling very fast. Okay. Now we talk a little bit about the mortgage rate. Okay. What is it right now? A slightly drop. If it is last week, a reported of 7.08%. This week, we see an average just right below 7%. Okay, just right below 7%. But don't celebrate too quickly. It's still well above the comfort level, which is what? Can you guess what the comfort level? Who can tell me like what is the comfortable level of interest rate that you are going to act right now? Okay. The answer is most of the buyers are still hoping for something that is lower than six or even fives. Okay. But as the expert have pointed out, including last week's survey, there's little reason to expect 5% rate anytime soon. Okay. The only way that you can get 5% or less than 6% is buying a brand new house. Some of the home builders are working around this by buying down mortgage interest rate for the buyers. Okay. By putting a lot of their own cash into the table to help you guys to help you buy that. A lot of people think, okay, then why I not buy the brand new house? Well, the brand new house come with a premium, right? So it's normally more expensive than the resale house, like 40 to 50,000 in the same area. And also you have a lot of expense for the backyard, for for anything around the house that's not ready, just like the resale home. Okay. Um, So the verdict is if the rate drop definitely helps with the situation. So definitely this kind of drop right here helps a little bit, but only for the serious buyer. For the buyers still on the side is not very motivated yet. I expect if the rate keep going down, there's going to be more and more demand back to the market. Okay. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about in today's episode is the Phoenix market compared to other metro area in the country. So the SBK Schiller Home Price Index just finished the report for January to March of 2025, and the Phoenix market ranked number 18. Okay, out of 20 metros for the monthly price growth. Okay, so it's not a very good number. It's only 0.115%. Okay, that's a year-over-year increase, so it's not appreciated a lot. If you bought the house last year in June 2024, don't expect your home price go up very much. Okay, so if you're gonna be having a very difficult situation if you decide to sell right now, and if you bought the house last year. Okay, um that's so on average, okay, the national average is 0.76%. The national average is 0.76%, but then the Phoenix is only 0.15%. So it's well above, well below the national monthly average. And then it's also less than like 1.5% for the yearly row, and the national average is 3.4. So it's still way above below the yearly the national yearly average. Okay, only the two cities that less than Phoenix is Miami and Tampa. Can you guess why? All right. So the reason is that there's a very low demand in these two cities because of the insurance issue and the climate related risk. Okay. So that's the reason why those two cities are well underperformed. Okay. Phoenix placed in the bottom tier isn't so something that we're proud of, right? It suggests that the local recovery is lagging behind many US cities. Even in some market, actually, we see that they already start heating up. Okay, so Phoenix is a little bit late into the game, but hopefully it's going to be improving it soon in the future. Okay, so here's my final thought. Okay, so for the buyer, we have still have the strong negotiation power, especially in the mid-range to the entry-level homes. Okay, so don't be swayed by the rising average. Don't be fooled and saying that the home price is going up. Okay, if you buy an entry level or mid-range average homes, right, you still have a very strong negotiation power. Okay, so negotiate is the key. For the seller, if your home not priced correctly, expecting a very long days on market, and don't just rely on the average price trend to put the price for your house. Okay, you have to look at comps. You have to look at homes that sold, home that are still available on the market, and make it a competitive environment. Okay, well, that is all I have today. If you miss any information, if you have any question, oh, Chandler, Gilbert, Phoenix, Glendale, those are the cities that you have to pay attention, and especially in those areas, since they tend to be a little bit over confidence and give the price is very high, right? You have to price very correctly. Okay, so thank you so much again. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me, call me, text me, or if you just want to read the information again, you can scan the QR code here and all the information will be presented to you. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.